Hi everybody, this is Dr. Lassane again, and today in this screencast I want to take you through the syllabus for the course. So I'm assuming that you're logged into LiveBinder, that you've clicked on the binder for spring of 2014 for the Young Adult Lit class, and you can see these four tabs across the top. Click on Syllabus. Notice that I have saved it, as I've saved a lot of information in here, in a Word document. It will open in a separate window. It will give you the option of saving it to your desktop or just simply looking at it here within the pages of LiveBinder. Those choices are going to be up to you. I think it's always a good idea, however, to save the particular document that you're going to take a look at because you don't know when you might want to refer to it without having to get into this particular program. So here's the syllabus for LSSL 5385 for the spring semester, and I'm going to point out some things that I think are important to know in the syllabus. And the first section is right here. That's how you get in touch with me. My name's Dr. Lassane. I've had some of you already in 5360, so you know, if not exactly who I am in an online course, you at least know about a little bit about me. These are the phone numbers for getting in touch with me, the office fax, my email addresses, and the fact that if you want to talk to me in person, Tuesdays are generally the best time to call the office. But you can call anytime and leave a message, and I'll get back to you just as quickly as I can. Now, it's not my intent to read through the syllabus for you. I'm going to therefore just kind of scroll through some of this to get to the things that I think require some discussion. And let's stop here at textbooks for just a moment. I've already posted this information out to LibSci, so I'm pretty sure that most of you have seen it, but if this is the first time seeing it, welcome. We have a textbook for the class. The textbook is written by moi, Dr. Lassane. I wrote it in 2003, so you can see it's been around for a while. It's available from any online vendor, including Amazon. It's available from the University Bookstore. You can get it new or used. You can also find it in Kindle edition from Amazon. I really like my Kindle edition, even though I have a hardcover version of the book, because I can access that so quickly. While it doesn't have page numbers, I still can kind of navigate around in it. Now, in addition to the textbook, which you will need for 7 assignments, we are all going to read some young adult novels in common. There are 25 of them. And I want to take you through them pretty quickly, just to talk about why they're here. In general terms, these books are here because they represent the gamut, the variety that's out there in young adult literature. They are multicultural, many of them, so they reflect different cultures from mine, and certainly for some of you from yours as well. They're in different genres, so we've got historical fiction, realistic fiction, fantasy, and those kinds of things. And we also have different forms and formats, including probably one of the most popular ones right now, graphic novels. We've got fiction and nonfiction on this list. And if you just take a look down the different publication dates, what you'll see is the books run from 1974, which are some of the earliest days in young adult literature, all the way up to the most recent books from 2010 and 2011. So I'm trying to show you basically a 40-year history of young adult novels here as well. I wish that we met face to face, because one of my favorite things to do is to book talk each and every one of these books. But I'm going to do the best that I can here online in this screencast and just kind of run through them very quickly, give you a slight overview of the books, hoping that some of these will be familiar to you. These books are listed in alphabetical order. The order in which you'll read the books, remember, is in a separate document here at LiveBinder and also at Blackboard. It's called Due Dates, but it also has in there the reading order of the books. We start with, alphabetically, Sherman Alexie's The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. It's one of the few books out there written about Native culture by someone who is a Native American, Sherman Alexie. It's largely autobiographical. It is touching and incredibly funny, and I hope that you'll appreciate his sense of humor and his sense of self. Laurie Haltz Anderson's Speak is one of the early Prince Honor books. The Prince is the young adult equivalent of the Newbery, given for the most distinguished contribution to young adult literature. And Laurie Haltz Anderson's book Speak is about a girl who is raped at a party and doesn't know how to tell anybody what has happened to her. The subject matter is incredibly intense. What has happened to her is very intense as well. But surprisingly, and one of the reasons I think this book has been recognized over and over again, is the fact that Melinda, our main character, has an incredible sense of humor. And that's part of what sees her through this horrific experience. Here's our first nonfiction book, Janis Joplin, Rise Up Singing. This was the recipient of the Young Adult Library Services Association, YALSA, Excellence in Nonfiction Award, the year that I was on the committee. Certainly having a biography of Janis Joplin is, I think, quite appropriate for those of us who live in Texas because she has strong Texas connections. I think you'll enjoy the book and the way it's put together. It certainly is a fascinating story of a young woman with incredible talent. We're going to read one of Tom Engelberger's books in the series, The Strange Case of Origami Yoda. You can read any book in this series. He's got a book about Darth Paper, Jabba the Puppet. You're not restricted to this first book, although if you're not familiar with the series, I really do suggest you read the first one. It's probably going to be the easiest one to find. It's got an interesting format to it. It has multiple narrators, and it's a great middle grade novel. A lot of the books that we'll read for class are going to be for older teens. This is one that will be for younger teens and even tweens. Booth's Tyrell is a book about a young man whose entire family has been displaced. They're now homeless, and he's living along with his mother and younger brother in a hotel. Basically, it's the only place that they can put him for right now. Tyrell wants desperately to make money so that the family can move back into an apartment so he doesn't have to take 2 buses and transfer to get to his school every day. But making money's really tough. And Tyrell is all about making tough choices and good decisions. Libba Bray's Going Bovine is a Prince Award winner. It was the winner the year that I served on the Prince Committee, so obviously I have some strong feelings about it. Libba Bray is a Texas author, and I think that helps strong feelings as well. Going Bovine is basically a variation of Don Quixote, and I hope that you'll enjoy the broad slapstick kind of humor, but also the real important themes here about finding yourself and finding out where you belong. They really do resonate with young adult readers. Viola Canales, The Tequila Worm, is one of the Pura Belpre Award winners, and basically is set in the Rio Grande Valley and then in Austin as a young girl, our main character, travels from the life she's always known with her mama and her papa to a private boarding school to get a good education. Bob Cormier's The Chocolate War, which is the earliest published book that you see here on this list, is here because it really does mark an important, not beginning in young adult literature because we had books before Chocolate War, but certainly kind of brought young adult literature to the forefront. It's incredibly well written. It's beautiful in terms of its language and the way that Cormier has crafted this. It's also one of the first books that said, hey, sometimes life is tough and good guys don't win. And for that, it was roundly criticized in 1974. Today, we would probably applaud it for the same thing. Chris Crutcher's Athletic Shorts is a collection of short stories about different sports and different kids in sports. What set this aside as a short story collection is that the main characters in these books are also characters in Crutcher's longer works. So you're going to run into characters from Stoughton, from Running Loose, either before their particular novels took place or sometimes later in life. You can kind of check back in with them. Hereville by Barry Deutsch is a graphic novel about a young Jewish girl who wants a sword. And it is certainly multicultural. It's certainly unusual to see a young Jewish girl as the heroine of a novel. Margarita Engel's Surrender Tree is a novel in verse, Pura Belpre Award winner, and it looks at Cuba under different leadership. looks at the struggles of the country to find its true freedom. Annie on My Mind by Nancy Garden, another of our older books in this particular list of books, was one of the first books to really tackle the subject of LGBTQ issues. And because of that, it has been on the banned book list often. I think it will be an interesting read for you to look at it historically and kind of how it fits into today's LGBTQ literature. Adam Gidwit's A Tale Dark and Grim is a wonderful, 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 funny re-envisioning of Hansel and Gretel. John Green's Looking for Alaska was a Prince Award winner in 2006. It was his first novel. He's gone on to write several others, all of which have received critical acclaim. Looking for Alaska is a book that I think will shake you a little bit and will certainly leave its tracks after you're done reading it. Rebbe Harris's It's Perfectly Normal is a book about sex and sexuality. As such, it's always on the banned book list, and so it's here. We need to know this piece of nonfiction. Deborah Heiligman's Charles and Emma, The Darwin's Leap of Faith is a biography of Charles and Emma Darwin, and it is beautifully written. It has won all kinds of awards, including the Cybert Award, which is a nonfiction award from the children's division of ALA, but it's also a book that has received acclaim from the young adult end as well. No More Dead Dogs by Gordon Korman. We need to have some funny books, and Gordon Korman writes some of the funniest ones out there. Madeleine L'Engle's Wrinkle in Time graphic novel. You're looking for the Hope Larson edition. Is the newest book on your list, if you'll see here, 2012. It is an adaptation of the classic Newbery-winning Wrinkle in Time, but done in graphic novel format. I'll be interested in seeing what you think of it, hoping that you've read Wrinkle in Time already. Walter Dean Meyer's Monster is the first ever winner of the Michael Prince Award, and as such we're looking at it, but even if it hadn't won the award, we would look at it because of its unusual form and format. Patrick Ness's Knife of Never Letting Go is the first book in a trilogy called Chaos Walking. For those of you who have read Hunger Games, I think that you will adore this book. I think that this book is actually better than the Hunger Games trilogy. I think Ness explores a whole lot more of a dystopian universe in the 3 books. You're going to read book number 1. Marjane Satrapi's Persepolis is a graphic novel. It's also a biography, and it's about growing up in a repressive kind of civilization where women are forced to basically toe the line to keep themselves hidden, and what it's like if somebody steps out of that role. John Sheska has a wonderful collection called Guys Read Funny Business. I urge you to go out and look for the book trailer for this. You can find it probably pretty easily going out there on Google and Bing. And it's a collection of funny short stories. Terry Truman's Stuck in Neutral was one of the first books honored with a Prince Honor Award. That's the same year as Speak and Monster that won the award. And it's a story that will really stay with you, I think, long after the reading is done. It's a slender novel. I know you'll probably celebrate that. But it's about a boy who is severely disabled, except he will tell you, because he is our narrator, that he truly, truly does understand everything going on in the world around him. Scott Westerfeld's Leviathan is steampunk, and steampunk is relatively new to young adult literature, but it's been around in adult books for quite a long time. It basically takes an historic setting, but infuses into that history all kinds of contemporary inventions and things like that. So it gives it kind of a weird, almost fantasy-like feel to it. And finally, you're going to be looking at Twilight, the graphic novel. I imagine many of you have read Twilight the novel. Now you'll get to see it in graphic novel form. So those are the books that you're reading for the class for this semester. Now I'm going to continue to move through the syllabus. There's a lot of information here that's required. I don't mind putting it in here. I hope you will take time to read it at some point. But I know what you're interested in. What you're interested in is, what do I have to do in order to be successful in the class? So here are the basic assignments for the class: the textbook discussions, the reading autobiography, the annotated bibliography, the social networking activity, and finally the youth literature essay. Those are the major assignments. If you notice at Live Binder, when we click on assignments, you'll see them all here. I've got them all delineated here, so you'll get lots and lots and lots of information about them. So I'm not going to stop and look at them right now, but there they are. And here is how you get the A, because I know that that's what everybody wants. So let's just take a look at it here. Total points possible is 400. In order to get an A, you get 90% of the 400 points. That would be 360 or more points. So you have 40 points that you can lose at various assignments during the semester and still have your A. A B is 80%, so 320 through 359. A C is 70%, 280 through 319. And anything below that is an F. I don't mean to frighten you here. Most students do really well in class. Most people get an A or a B. As long as you turn in your assignments and you really do follow the directions, I think you'll be okay. What I don't want to hear at the end of the semester, though, is I have 359 points. That's only 1 point from an A, because it's not 1 point from an A. It's 41 points from an A. So keep track of your grades, keep track of your numbers, so that you can see how you're doing for the semester. There are, following here in the syllabus now, expectations, and I do urge you to read these. They're kind of important. They're policies. There's information more about the TK20 assignment, and then there's a nice list of references here at the end of the syllabus. So I urge you, when you have time, to read through all of this information. It's all important, not just the syllabus, but everything that's here in Live Binder. So I urge you to take a look at everything. I hope that this particular discussion has helped you, and I'll see you in the next screencast.